like I did last time. Oh, we're live. Let's go, guys. All right, what's going on? This is Tempo Podcast episode 9. Some crazy stuff's been going on in the world this week. Mainly in the world of sports. It looks like is what we're going to be focusing on this week. But there is some other financial and non-financial news. So we will see where that goes. But we're talking about something really interesting before the show started. And this is something I'm more than comfortable to talk about on the show, guys. I've been kind of struggling with alcoholism a little bit over the last year because pandemic hit me a little hard. And that's okay. I think it hit a lot of people hard. You know, I'm not the only person in this boat, but I think I've made it to the other side now. Even as saying that, I feel really, really like I'm risking a lot by saying that because it's a lot to put your faith in. But I feel that way. I feel like I'm there. But what we were talking about, one of the things I've been doing lately, I'm trying to decide if the social drinking I've been doing on Twitch counts as like actually like if I was going out to a bar or something. You know, like it's more or less the same thing. I say yes. I mean, I'm not buying drinks from the place, so it's even better. You know. It's like everyone's drinking on their own supply. Everybody, this is what I was saying in a stream the other day. Everybody can know their own limits.
Yeah, it's according to how you handle your
alcohol. If you start typing like an idiot, the person in the stream can be like, go to bed and like block you from typing so that you go to bed, you know, like
get you off and then you're all by yourself.
And you're done. It's like being thrown out of a bar. You know what I mean? Like
cussing people out.
I mean, I look at it.
Yeah, and that stuff gets banned anyway. So you start getting like your messages deleted. Like I've had a night or two where I was like, you know what? It's time for me to get off. Mm-hmm. So I don't know. I would like to see what people in the comments think, but I'm just curious. I'll go to you first, Phil. Do you think this counts as like socialized drinking? I just don't know.
Well, you can say it's social drinking. It's just like, I mean, you're still into the computer, like, you know, you're actually talking to people and interacting. And like they say, there's nothing wrong with drinking a little bit. Actually, I think it gets rid of the COVID. I mean, have you ever met anybody that's drunk with a cold?
This is true. I mean, I think maybe once or twice. I mean, if you're really, really, you know, into the alcohol. But I mean,
when the last time I had a cold?
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like, I've never met someone that was actively drunk with a cold. Like, that's what I'm trying to think. Was I've ever met someone that was sick and drunk?
Well, I mean, it's more like here. I still go take like 2 shots a day at least. I had to take 2 shots at least before I go to sleep, just to wind down. I don't smoke weed no more or nothing, like, you know. So I'm, you know, I used to do a lot back in the day. You know, it was a lot of different things.
Yeah, I mean.
Weed, I did acid, and tried shrooms, and tried it, and tried some of that stuff like back in the day. So, you know, and that's what, like, when I was in my early 20s, in college days, where people approach you with a lot of stuff, and you learn as you get older, you know. And, you know, you would think that drinking would be something that's more important to legalize than weed. But weed does affect people. Because when I smoke, I'm fucking something up. I'm like, I'm confused. I will definitely get out the car and leave my door wide open. Or I will put my remote controller in the refrigerator.
I do that. Oh, wait, hold on. I do that when I'm sober. What the hell?
I know everybody's done that at least once. Like, where's the remote? And it's in the refrigerator.
I've done, have you ever done, my mom's going to kill me for telling this story. My mom, wasn't on anything. She just would end up, she was half asleep, you know, because she worked long hours and then had to take care of kids and stuff. So,
you know, the worst thing I do?
She put a bag of pretzels. So we had this, I don't know what you call it, like a medicine cabinet, but we converted it into just like a linen closet. And like, so for okay, so I'm just going to use these two to show these two. No, actually, okay, just imagine these are the 2 walls. Down this hallway, there's like a little closet here where we keep all the chips and stuff. And then down at the end of that hallway is the linen closet and like a laundry chute or something. I don't know. And so you have to walk past where you would put the chips away. But then, you know, there's 2 bedrooms right there. So it's super obvious that this is not the right spot. You know what I mean? But she ends up putting the bag of pretzels in the linen closet. And I go to get something out of there, a towel or something that day. And I'm like,
you know, the thing I do, what I've done when I was high is lit the cigarette from the wrong end.
I think everyone that smoked has done that at some point. Yeah.
I was like, I've done that even sober.
Yep. I think I've done it once sober and I was like, how did I do that sober? But it's just like you pick it up, you know, it's like, okay, so it's just like anything else you do. How does somebody that smoked weed for 10 years that, you know, still accidentally blow a little bit too hard, like when they're sucking and blow the entire weed out? Like that happens. You know what I mean? Like, so everyone now knows I'm a stoner because I just gave that specific of a story. Well, but
you know, if it's mine, drinking, I'd say you're an alcoholic if you have no control of your functions. Like some people
Oh.
just handle alcohol differently. Like it's functioning alcoholics. That's why I call them. That's why I call
I
them.
guess that's what I would qualify as at this point because I don't need it's not like I need to drink, but like when I'm like super messed up, I'm still pretty much there, which is really
See,
weird.
like I might drink.
Isn't that really weird? It's a
When I
weird
go out to the
experience.
club, I won't drink that much. Like if I go out to a bar, I won't drink that much because I am so fucking cheap. I don't want to get no Uber.
See, that's a good
Like,
way.
I'm like, I do not like being out of control. Plus, I don't know if I'm ever get into a bar fight or something. I'm just when I'm out, I can socially drink out, but I don't like to drink a lot. I like to have my sense. I don't be telling stories, about things that I don't mean to talk about. Like, hey y'all, you know what? I saw this, be sloppy falling or throwing up. That's the worst thing in the world. When you get so drunk you throw up. I don't know if you ever had alcohol poisoning before, but it's not pretty. I've had hyper alcohol poisoning where I didn't drink too many Red Bulls, so
I've never had that bad. I've had it where I've actually like vomited like everything out that I drank, like completely, and like completely was sick, for the next couple of days after. But like I've never had it where it was like actually like something I needed to get like my stomach pumped or anything like that. Or whatever they do, in hospitals. I don't know how they actually solve when you drink too much. I just know that they do.
To the toilet and have a headache and everything, and just be.
Oh yeah, yep. I've had that before for sure. Where
right like the next every day, then you're officially an alcoholic.
I've definitely had alcohol. And this is a story I'll tell. I had one day where I had done essentially what I joked about before the show, which was I had about 6 beers and then about a liter of alcohol on top of that. And I continued to try and drink beyond that. And I probably almost died, to be honest, because you get pretty close when you, if I had been in a bed or something, I probably would have vomited to death,
Right.
Well, you know what I'm saying? Like when people choke on their own, that's what's happening. Your body has to expel what's in there. It's the same thing that happens, I think, with overdoses, it's trying to expel what's in there to save you, and you're not in a position that's good.
But that's why before you drink, you should always eat.
Yes, absolutely. Eat something. And if you're drinking and you're like starting to feel like you're losing it a little bit, like eat a little bit of bread, drink a bottle of water. I know it sounds ridiculous. It will keep you on a relatively even level because it's going to absorb some of that alcohol and you'll be able to keep drinking without losing your shit.
Yeah, grease works, potato chips, things like
any greasy food. So pizza, if you want greasy pizza, like deep dish pizza is great for absorbing alcohol. I can personally tell you that because I had one piece of deep dish and I was good for the rest of the night.
And people, you should keep this in mind too during the Super Bowl because I'm pretty sure everybody's going to be drunk on the Super Bowl.
Oh, just about everybody.
Mike DeWine and all them talking about on Super Bowl Sunday, make sure you're with your people. Do not drink, I
think they're saying don't go out for parties and stuff too, right? Like
they're pretty much saying that during the Super Bowl. I would like to say, I bet you know what, to be messed up. You don't go party or nothing and still catch COVID. I bet it's a lot of people that caught it. Like, damn, I ain't do nothing but go to the bathroom.
Yeah, I know. How shocked will you guys be if I get it or something? Because like I literally have done everything in my power to avoid going out.
Right. You might have had it 3 times. You don't even know it.
Yep.
Yeah, who knows? One person passes into my house. I get sick for a few days because I'm only 22 years old. Just dox myself. But anyway, because I'm 22 years old, I should be fine. I don't have any major problems. Maybe I notice it a little bit more because I'm a smoker, but like
just go to Walgreens and take the vaccine. They about to start dishing out the vaccine in Walgreens.
Yeah, what was it? I saw like over the counter is going to be available at some point in the relative future, like maybe by the next year or something. I forget.
I'm gonna wait and see what happens to everybody else. Make sure they don't turn into the walking.
Hey, dude, I actually was reading into this recently. There is, and I didn't know this, historical precedent for people of color in this country to be not super trusting of vaccines. I was not aware of this, but like the Tuskegee experiments and stuff like that, and I was unaware of that reality until
I've never got a flu shot, and I've not had the flu since I was 10 years old.
I did.
And look, I understand that perspective, like especially if there's like historical precedent in the United States for people to not trust what the government tells them when it comes to like, making sure that you're not or that you're vaccinated or whatever you call it. And then I think in that case it had to do with syphilis,
right.
but like, yeah,
for that.
Do what?
So you got to go to the doctor for stuff like that. Your thing gonna fall off.
Well, no, yeah. I mean, back then they were going to the doctor. Well, so this is what I was referencing. So I guess
flames.
This is just a brief summarization for anyone that doesn't know. But the ski experiments were essentially, don't know exactly when it was, but it was like, I want to say like the 50s or something like that. And a bunch of African American men in the United States were.
They ain't got a vaccine for AIDS. I don't get it.
That's one that's probably just a little like complicated. It's a really complicated immunovirus that it's really.
Nope. I believe Chris Rock is right on this one. There ain't no money in the cure. The
money in the treatment.
The medicine.
Yeah, because you can keep them alive forever, but only as long as the person lives.
Vaccine. Who's the oldest person you know that's had AIDS?
Magic Johnson.
Right.
Yeah, and why is he alive still and in relatively good health? Because he's got money,
He's in his 70s now.
Back when he got AIDS, people were dying from it all the time, and he
lived.
lived.
Now he's dying at regular age now.
Yep.
Still has a wife. Probably still get some poo-tang.
I'm sure there's ways that you can mitigate the risk of somebody getting HIV while having. I mean,
they can bring it down to where it's not. What's it called?
And even if she were to catch it right, they can manage it. He's got the money to help her manage the shit anyway. But anyway, not that I'm trying to put a negative connotation on it, but like, what were we talking about before we got lost? Oh, the vaccine. So what they were doing was they brought a bunch of African American in and said, we're going to treat your syphilis. They actually knew what penicillin was at the time already, but they just didn't give that to them because they wanted to see what the long-term effects would do. So I understand why some people of color are coming out being like, I don't know about this, man. I get it, but like, please just trust the people on this, guys. Like, we need to all come together on this. It's really
Black Lives Matter.
I'm not saying that to you. I'm saying that to just people in general. Like, I would ask everybody in general just to at least bear with the people that we've left in charge of these kinds of things, because we left them in charge for a reason, for this exact kind of situation. So,
well, I wouldn't take it as my daughter caught it twice.
That's crazy.
My daughter caught it twice, 2 times. They can say whatever they want.
There's a I think it's in Congress. There's some lawmaker that caught it after getting the second dose of the vaccine. So
yeah, so it's not really all it's cracked up to be. I mean, they're now listen. When you go get the vaccine shot, you understand you have corona for 14 days.
Mm-hmm.
Like they're injecting you with corona. You got it. You got corona.
They just say
it's not active. Yeah, they just say it's not active. But that's bullshit. I don't give a. So
my girlfriend got her vaccine today.
Who did? What?
My girlfriend.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm.
You got corona.
Is she like a closer to the frontline worker or something, or
teacher?
Oh, okay, yeah. So teachers, I guess
they're talking about that because the teachers are boycotting right now, talking about not going back to teach. They received the vaccine.
Well, Chicago was like, nope, we ain't going back. I think the mayor came out and was like, you need to go your ass back to class.
That ugly ass lady came out. I'm sorry. Did I say that out loud?
Yes, that's okay though.
They mayor look like she about to kill somebody. She like, y'all ain't going back. What are you gonna do if the teachers don't go back? Like, she making threats. Like, I'm sorry, but that is the dumbest shit in the world I've ever seen. Like, she needs to be more empathetic. She's she worse than Trump. Like, well, I'm getting fed. Like, it was on Fox News and CNN this morning where she was talking about, I'm getting fed up with these teachers. They need to take their ass back to teach these students. What are you going to do? Take them to jail?
Listen, Chicago made that woman that way, though. Chicago is the #1 murder capital of the world.
Yeah,
it's true.
So you got to be hard to be the mayor there.
It's true. It's true. And expect someone to not have hardline opinions like that. That's the mayor that grew up there.
Listen,
I mean, talking like that to the teacher, empathetic.
I would really appreciate it if y'all would go back to school. Like, our children really know.
That's true. That mayor gets so much crap from people in Chicago.
But she's doing a speech like, y'all go back and teach these students now. Like
how dare you be our mayor? Get him out. Censure. That's totally what would happen. No, I'm joking.
You have to learn how to talk to people, like, for real, and these are the teachers. You can't. That's like telling the doctors, y'all better go in there and cure these people. They be like, forget you, and then your ass gets sick and have to go to the doctor, and you can't do nothing. Like, you have to reason with these people. Like, these are the people that's there to do it. It ain't like you can find other teachers.
Well, and they
I mean,
have
you could, but it'd be difficult. It would be such a difficult process.
Yeah,
that
if
you
all
would
the teachers
ultimately
say no,
engage with the original teachers again because it'd be more difficult to do what you're to try and replace the entire
that's
staff.
like when they did the bus boycott.
And then
Like,
Biden's even supposed to be putting back into effect the thing where if you're scared to go to work because of catching it, you can still collect unemployment and you will not lose your job.
Yeah, I hope that gets implemented because there's a lot of people right now. I think especially that would work, that would be that are currently. I don't know how many. I don't know if we ever brought the furloughed people back from our work.
hey, I wonder if I could do that in my job. I'm gonna be like, I quit my
Well, I
job.
think if you came back,
I quit my job because I think
assuming,
you know this computer is gonna make me catch COVID. Even though I'm working from home, I still feel in danger because
I wonder how that'll work too. Will it be an austerity, right? Will the people that were lost their jobs and never got one again since from the original?
hey man, I'm mad. Like when they first started the COVID thing, a lot of people at my job quit. And then when they got unemployment, they quit until they started the remote thing, and they was getting $600 a week.
Yep. Yeah. Just
They was
enough. I
getting
mean, yeah.
600 a week. A week. I didn't make that much.
They had to wait for that. Plus, that got cut off last month.
Yeah,
but it's been cut off twice
look
already. It was
long,
cut off.
Look how long they've had it
cut off
though.
again.
Look how long they was getting it. I was
That's okay.
no,
Another deadline actually came in. I think actually, if I remember correctly, it did die, like you were saying, Tony. Then they brought it back with one of the packages. I think the one that did the 600, maybe, and then they only got 300 a month or something, and that's going to be up for potential grabs here soon. So that's one of the things they're negotiating with the current $2 billion. $2 trillion.
Some of these bastards only working 22 hours a week.
Oh yeah,
they was getting 600. I'm like, I should have quit. When they told me like I could go get unemployment if I wanted to, they did tell it gives the option at first. I was like, why did I do that? I was child
support. They didn't do that for us. We were already work from home. They were like, if you can't work, oh well.
They had cut us off. Like we couldn't work from home no more. They had actually
we were already at home. Matter of fact,
I worked from home at first.
We were already at home when this whole thing went down. And so all they did was call like a big meeting and we all had to log on and they said, all right, you all that are at home, stay at home. Like, don't.
you like my Star Wars reference? Anyway,
I quit working in the call center. When I was sitting down at my desk, I was like, and this dude just like, you know how somebody try to move out the way from sneezing on everybody in front of him? But he didn't know I was sitting in the booth that he turned his head towards and sneezed right on me. I immediately logged off, clocked out. I said, I went up to the front desk where the supervisor was at, and I said, excuse me, can y'all go ahead and just give me that? Because I got up, I almost went off on him. I was like, man, you just gonna sneeze on me like that? I'm like, damn, bro. I'm like, you ain't even look. You could at least, you still, if you turn your head, you're supposed to cover your mouth. You know, directly. I mean, spit. Look at my glass. I'm like, I got spit all in my glass. I was like, man, I should punch you, man. You know what? I went up to the front desk. I said, hey, let me get the home equipment. I'm finna clock out for an hour because I'm finna go home and set this up. I ain't coming back. Dude, I'm like, I've been working from home ever since. Like I left. I was like, forget that. That was it for me. That was the last straw. Already had an incident where I was sitting at a chair and a bed bug came out on the desk. I was like,
yeah, I heard similar stories about our work.
Bed bug. Then I seen like 3.
Yeah, that like 3 years ago, right? No one puts their bags on the floor at our work now because of it. Yeah, everybody hangs their bag this smart.
I had to throw my coat away, close everything.
Oh no, that's the worst.
Then I'm worried, like I hope it didn't get in my hair because you know I got dreads. So I'm like, dang, I mean,
wait, is that a thing?
Wash my hair.
Do they go for hair? Oh my gosh, I have long hair.
I don't know.
I don't have problems. I just don't want that to be a thing. Oh my goodness.
Well, my hair is like carpet, so I don't know. And you know, I'm like, I just went. I had to wash my hair and stuff. And then there's a lady that used to have bed bugs crawling on her at our job. Nobody wanted to sit next to her. That she sat in my chair, and that's where they came from. I'm like,
y'all, I need a haircut. This is getting too long. Nah, I'm gonna leave it anyway.
You look like the Undertaker.
Do I? Oh yeah, old young Undertaker. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, like old mean Mark Callis. Anyway, he just retired recently. We could talk about. I wish we had been doing a show at that. I would have made a whole segment about that. I haven't talked about wrestling on this show in like a year.
Supposed to be talking about the stimulus story.
Well, I just brought it up. I made a little Star Wars reference. I couldn't think of any more Die Hard titles, so I just went with Star
Well, they
Wars.
said stimulus ain't coming out to March 14th, possibly.
Yeah, that one's gonna be a little bit delayed. It's because they're negotiating the heck out of it right now. I mean, it's gonna, I think, be the 1,400 to make up for the 2,000 that was supposed to be.
Republicans ain't going for it. See, if Donald Trump was in office, we would have got that check last week.
I have no idea if that's true, because part of the reason why we hadn't gotten the $1,400 extra dollars to begin with was because of Donald Trump. So, I mean, we'd have to know, in order to know that, he would have had to have won. I mean, he probably would have made it a priority for sure, because he did the last time they brought it up. He made it one of the things he focused on, but it's also what Biden's focusing on right now. He's doing other things as well, but Biden's been focusing.
I feel like they're pushing Biden around. Everything he doing, they cutting him off. Like, I'm like,
right. They want to do too much of the
got,
agenda. This is the Democrat thing, man. They try to do too much of the agenda at once.
Like, you don't have.
The beautiful
he got to show some backbone.
Democrats. Everybody, like, we have the majority.
They're literally squabbling over certain congressional seats, like Marjorie Taylor Greene and Ileana Omar, which we'll get to in a second. But like, you know, like, this is where we're at as a country right now. You know,
Biden got to go ahead and push the issue, man. He got to grow some nuts, man. Get on there and start demanding instead of
Didn't Trump go and speak in Congress at one point? He needs to do that. You know, like, and just show up at Congress and be like, "Yo, I'm here for a speech that I planned for today."
What you're gonna do? You're gonna have to just try to pass a bill, and if it get vetoed, it get vetoed. But I mean, you gotta come on, man.
That's true. It's true.
Now, I have a feeling like I really think I just do not. Lord forgive me. I do not think he's gonna make it the whole 4 years. I think Kamala's gonna be the first woman president.
Hey man, I think there's a possibility there. I mean, it'd be like same thing with Bernie, right? Like, you'd think they would put also more than likely.
I like Biden. It seemed like he got dementia or something. Like he's not as upkept as he was when he was with Obama. Like back when he was like, I remember back in the day, he was like,
he was all there. I remember him being.
He was like, if Trump taught one more, if we was back in the day, I'd take Trump out back and knock his ass out.
Yeah,
like, that's more conscious.
Go back to the 2016 election when Biden was running, because he was running. He just wasn't the front runner then, because Hillary was involved.
Personality now, like where's
like a whole thing? Like, you were like, "Oh, that's Joe Biden. That's a Joe Biden." I remember Joe Biden from the 2008 election. I was like, "Oh man, 2012." I was like, "Oh man, this is the same Biden. He's just a little bit older now. He looked a lot older, but he was still the same Biden."
But when people get older, they get sweet.
That age really is starting to hit the guy, you know. And you know what? I've noticed it in Trump too, that it started to hit him as well, you know, like, because he's 70.
See, Trump turned into a grumpy old man. Biden's turning one of those like sensitive, like, so can I have some water type of old man.
War possibilities.
Trump turning into a mean old man, like, I don't give a fuck.
Mr. Putin, I don't want to do nothing to make you mad. You know, like.
Yeah, then all this stuff going on with China, I'm like, oh my gosh.
Okay, so we can actually get into some China adjacent stuff. I do want to talk about the congressional seat battles really quickly. So just to talk briefly, I don't know enough about this to talk about it really super intelligently, but basically what happened was Marjorie Taylor Greene was accused of being a QAnon member and conspiracy theorist, and they wanted her out of Congress. So there's a vote being held on that. But then the Republicans said, no, you can play at that game, and they started to go after Ileana Omar for being, I'm just going to say it honestly, for being a Muslim, because they think she's anti-Semitic. Now, she has said some questionable things. I do not think that she hates Jewish people.
I mean, this is America. You should be able to have whatever religion you want, honestly, as long as it's not terrorist.
I think she was saying you can't. I think she said something to the effect of Israel had hypnotized the West and the rest of the world, which is, I guess, old school anti-Romani and anti.
I don't think that's wrong with being a Muslim.
These two know what I'm talking about. Anti-Romani. I mean, you probably do know this, Tony. I mean, gypsy, but I'm not saying that in a negative. I'm just trying to explain what I mean, because that's considered a negatory term now. But like I mean, like, Romanis and Jewish people were both associated with mysticism and hypnotism and stuff like that. So back in old anti-Semitic lines of thought. So I will say that's obviously probably not what she meant to say.
I think any religion is good as long as you're not talking about going to war with somebody else about their religion and trying to compose a peaceful way of trying to convince them that your way of worshiping God is the right way, and in a peaceful way, and try to, and have that type of, mentality with it, compared to some groups where their violence, like, all right, we need to make them die.
Yeah.
Like you need to kill
Her
them.
words
Like
don't do as
those
much
are the
as
type of religions that probably shouldn't be here because those are the type of ones that will get a nuclear bomb. Like, it's some Muslims like that. Not say I'm like nothing against Muslims, but there are some that's like, if you do something and sacrifice yourself, when you die, you'll have what 40 virgins or something.
I don't know. I've heard a lot of stuff about that being weird recently. I don't know. There's a lot of mistranslations in the Quran into
But then
English.
there's other stuff. There's people out here that worship the devil, Satanists and voodoo people. Like, they don't want to kill nobody. They just want to praise the devil.
I think, yeah, those people, honestly, those people concern me a little bit more than some of the religious fanatics, because at least the religious fanatics believe in something they believe to be good.
And what about atheists? You know what I'm saying? Like, does that?
I don't know how I feel about atheists. I mean, they accuse atheists of being like really like potentially violent, but you never really see them do anything because they just kind of think of their lives as meaningless. So, I mean,
no, they think of their lives as,
or sometimes they think of them as meaningful, but for different reasons than really.
Atheists think of their lives like this is it.
Yeah. They almost the deterministic view of life, where this life is the only one that I've got, so I got to make it count. Which I think everybody should live their life that way to some extent, anyway. But
God though, because
But if you have faith, I guess I don't know. I guess that's
like I think like just the way a woman is, like how your mother like reminds me. That's what the closest thing I could think of to God. Because my mom could have called me shithead, and that would have been my name. My name would have been shithead in the pier. You know what I'm saying? It would have been like, that could have been my name. I could have another kid, and I could call him Lil Fart. Hey, Fart. Fart is his name. That's his name. That's what he's gonna grow up identified as. His birth certificate is gonna say Fart in the pier. Fart boy in the pier.
I don't know.
Fart, name boy. Fart boy in the pier. And that'll be his name, or Gaylord Fokker, like that. You know what I'm saying? You can have,
it's funny. Somebody that's as an agnostic that doesn't really like know what to believe, right? Like, because I just don't know. And I know that I don't know enough to say either way, right?
Do you remember
the universe, how it operates so perfectly sometimes? And I think one of two things: simulation or God, and either or is basically the same thing anyway. So like,
what's the farthest memory you could think back? You're young.
Farthest I can think back is something when I'm like 3 years old, just standing in a room or something. But like, it's not like a real memory. Like the actual memory is a little weird for me because I was on some epilepsy medicine that kind of killed some brain cells from back then. So, but I do have a brief memory of like standing in my living room at my old house. Just as a child, and I only reason I know I'm 3 years old, I think, is because of the size of my body, and it could have just been a dream. So
I remember being like 4, going to my dad's room and looking at his Hustler magazine.
I think, what was I probably, if that I'm thinking about it, I think what was going on. I think maybe we were watching TV or something, but I didn't know what that was back then. So like, I was just sort of walking through the room. I remember I had a little pep to my step that day. Like. I don't remember why. I think we were going to get ice cream or something. I don't know. Actually, that's what it was. Oh my gosh, what a memory. Yeah, we went down to, there's in Kettering, there's this really chill, like kind of, well, it's on the borders of Kettering and Dayton. Actually might be considered Dayton. Anyway, we used to go by, and we'd ride by this park. We'd go by the park for a little bit, and then we'd ride up through the neighborhood and go to this little Dairy Queen stop shop, and we would get ice cream. So that was, I think that's what we were doing. I don't remember. Yeah, I think that's what it was. Wow, I can't believe I still have that memory. That's incredible.
That's something you think about it. One of mine, I just remember falling down 2 flights of stairs when I was 3. I remember they were telling me not to jump on the paint because it's slippery, and I was like, it's slippery, and I jumped on it anyway. I don't know why, but I immediately slipped and just bloop 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 bloop.
All right, guys.
Yeah, it's not on my head.
Look, all right. So I have a really embarrassing story about falling out of a tree when I was like, I don't know how old. I can't remember. I was like old enough to be doing sports. So we'll just say I was like a preteen, right? Like 10 to 15 or something. We'll say with 10 to 15. We'll just say that range of age.
Okay, so you're talking about like 3 or 4 years ago. I was
playing baseball at the coach pitch level, whatever age that is. So no, the kid pitch level. So no, coach. I can't remember. Anyway, it was baseball, and we were out of like the juniors, right? So we were actually playing against other teams from the local area. And it was like spring training, guys, was about to start. I'm not kidding. Like spring, what do they call that? It's not called spring training for kids. It's like not endurance. What is it called? What do you guys know what I'm talking about? Conditioning. Conditioning was literally just about to start for the spring practices. And I climbed up in this tree across the street from my house. And, I fell out of the tree. And of course, instead of just taking the fall, which probably would have still resulted in something broken, but not like, my entire batting arm. I hit this part right here. I'm gonna do this. So this part right here, like where it like bends or whatever. That part right there landed on the root of a tree, full force, and like snapped my arm. It was bad. And I had to go in like a fully like immobilized cast. I can't do the angle now, but like like it was like completely immobile. I couldn't do seatbelts for like a couple of months. It was awful. And I missed the baseball season.
I bet.
Silver lining, they let me be the bat boy for that year. So I still got to be at all the games.
Yeah.
It was pretty cool. I think I got a little emotional though, and I didn't end up finishing the season, but because it was a little difficult to not play with all your friends that you'd been playing with for a few years, but especially because all of them were going to advance and I was going to have to move back a year or something. I don't know. It was bad. It wasn't good. They couldn't convincingly pass me on to the next year, but whatever. But anyway, let's get back to some stuff. So we have WandaVision review to do, but before we do that, I want to talk about something because we are like the only podcast I know about that talks about these super fights. That's not like an actual fight podcast. Can someone explain this one to me?
So they've been going on social media for like I guess the last couple of days, and Mayweather's supposed to fight Jake Paul in a little while, and somebody brought it up, would he step in the ring with 50 Cent? And 50 Cent said, I don't think 50 Cent want to do it because that would really lose him as much shit as he talk. If he get his ass whipped by Mayweather, that would. Cause if Mayweather loses, 50 Cent way bigger. 50 pushing probably about 230, 240 cock diesel. Mayweather about 150. So
yeah, you're like two different weight classes, but the difference is the professional skill of a guy like Mayweather.
Mayweather said he don't care. He said we could go ahead and throw the gloves on and we could get to it. 50 didn't deny it, but he ain't all the way just like, yeah, I'll fight Floyd, because that would be pretty stupid. First of all, he might be able to knock Floyd out without gloves, probably beat the shit out of him. But with gloves on and having that wind and endurance, what get people knocked out is when they get tired. You ever been so tired, you've been dizzy? Just thinking somebody punched you while you was dizzy.
Yes.
Oh my goodness, I don't even want to know what that's like. I mean, I've been punched while being dazed from a previous punch, so that's probably pretty similar. You know what I mean? But that's the only thing I could say that's probably close. I've been hit after being hit. Like I've been in a fight with multiple people before and been hit back to back to back without any break in between the hits. Like you normally would get to like recover for a second and then get back to like it's pretty brutal. So I can imagine if it's anything like that, not fun. Okay, we lost Phil.
Where did he go?
I'm not sure. But
I just think, like, especially right now, I think, like, with these fights, these guys are just, like, throwing stuff out there for publicity. I mean, look, everybody, like, throws Eminem's name around, like, and don't think he's going to come out swinging, so.
Has he gotten into any, like, actual fights? I just don't know. Like, where.
Actually, Eminem did get into it with Snoop lately.
No, I mean like any physical altercations with anybody.
His name and get his ass whipped. Right,
that's what I always assume. Like he maybe could fight. I'm sure because I'm sure he fought people growing up at some point. But like,
no, I'm pretty sure he'd get his ass whipped.
You don't think anybody? You think anybody could beat him? I mean, I don't know.
He didn't want to fight Violent J or ICP when he was.
Yeah, but I mean, those guys might be actual criminals. So.
Yeah, no, ICP not.
And I loved ICP for a long time. I probably shouldn't say that. Let me just say I didn't like them when they were ever labeled as a gang.
Too. I like.
Well, here's what I will say. Let me make it very clear what we're saying here. We are not associated, affiliated, or do we support or financially involve ourselves in any way in the ICP like international gang that exists out there.
Oh yeah, I don't know nothing about the ICP gang. I'm just saying.
But like, I've listened to their music before.
And
as well as several other people in the what do they call that? The psycho clown sort of thing.
Yeah, it's like clown pop, but they was a creative hip hop. Like they had a real circus type of style. Like it was goofy. But
no, they did juggalos, but there's a name for that type. Horrorcore. I was trying to think of it. It's called horrorcore.
Yeah, it was kind of interesting because they had people they had other people from Ohio, like Simpkin Heights, that was from Toledo.
Mm-hmm.
Like there's a few little groups up there. Like they dealt with Deshaun from Detroit. So I mean,
there's some phenomenal artists out there, by the way, not just ICP. So just if you're into juggalo music at all, listen to the other artists because there's some great ones.
They dope.
Hobson gets so discounted. He's so associated with the juggalos. He's not a juggalo, but he's so associated with them.
And he is so underrated.
Oh, Hobson is so good. Hobson is so good.
Hobson is underrated like hell. He is really good. Like I'm a big Hobson fan. I really just started really getting into him. I liked him back in the day, but I'm really starting to like him now because a lot of people said he sound like Eminem. But you can say that about Joyner Lucas or any of them. Like, you know,
I think a lot of people think I've bitten off of Eminem's style because it's a good vocal quality that Eminem has created in rap. Like he's
people
got
in
like
Detroit rap like that though. Like other people in Detroit rap. People in Detroit rap like that. Eminem just raps like
a Detroit rapper.
Yeah, the Detroit rapper, he just has a white kick to it.
I'm trying to think all the rappers that I know of. I don't really think about where they're from a lot of times. Let's just bring up some Detroit rappers that I just don't know from Detroit because I'm going to be shocked probably. Detroit rapper. Speaking of Detroit, we'll get to another Detroit story in just here.
Royce the 5'9".
Sean's from Detroit. Okay, cool.
Who else is from Detroit?
Let's see. It looks like wait, hold on. Big Sean, T
Grizzly,
Danny Brown, Trick, Proof.
Yeah, Sada Baby.
That's
most popular in Detroit right now.
Big Kirk. There's a lot of guys that I'm not sure that anyone. There's a lot of really a lot of names I've never heard of, but a lot of really cool looking dudes. So sure, they're all pretty cool. But I'm saying like they all look like. Oh wait, hold on. I just found somebody in Juggalo paint. That's what I was looking for. Who is this person? Oh, okay. Oh, it's one of the guys from Twisted. Jimmy Madrix from Twisted. Ever heard of Twisted?
Twisted. That's the with Chris Calico.
I think so. Either way, it's the two dudes that do the rap rock sort of Juggalo thing. They're really cool. I like Twisted. Yeah. They were one of the first artists that I branched out from ICP with.
Artists?
Yep. Some artists.
It's like it's some mouses in my house.
I don't know how we got here from Mayweather versus 50 Cent. I don't know how, but we're here.
Because we're talking about rappers and who can fight. But Mayweather versus 50 Cent, I don't know. I would have to go with gloves on. I would have to go with Mayweather and 50 Cent embarrassing the hell out of himself and get knocked clean the fuck out.
Do you think 50 Cent will figure out any sort of boxing before they fight?
I mean, 50 Cent can fight. I mean, you see them fight like at the music awards. I mean, 50 Cent, he is a known beast, you know what I'm saying? But he can't come in there like Nate Robinson on that bullshit, like coming there swinging and get his head knocked off.
Right? And even Logan Paul's little amount of boxing training was just enough to beat him. You know what I mean? So,
but then like this is another thing when I say size matters. Size matters. You can be a 100-pound dude that can fight like a mug. I might be able to black somebody's eye that's 200 pounds, 250. I might be able to black their eye and bust them in their nose, but it's
equally just punch you once.
Once he put his weight on me, and because no matter what, you're gonna tangle up in a real fight. I'm allowed to get pummeled unless I just really knock this dude out. I have to punch him in some martial arts spots, like straight in the throat, like cow, like you know what I'm saying, in the throat. Punch him in the nuts to get him down, like because size matters.
You made a lot of guys really disappointed by saying that.
Size matters. Have you ever seen Once Upon a Time in Hollywood when Bruce Lee tried to fight that dude? Like dude talked Bruce Lee into a car, like sit your little ass down. That's a true story.
It's been disputed by the Lee family, but yes, it's a true story, allegedly.
Bruce Lee got his ass whooped before, like you know what I mean. He was in a wheelchair.
About how American fighters would kill him because of their wrestling ability. Like even the basic American fighters seem to have American professional fighters seem to have some level of wrestling ability.
Like even Bruce Lee said he cannot whoop Hulk Hogan's ass. It's physically impossible for him to do that because Hulk Hogan sits 6'11" with 16-inch pythons, but not the fact that he's that big. The fact is that he has some kind of fighting skill, and he's really good at it. Like you know, even if wrestling is stage, even if
still have to be able to do a lot of that stuff.
Yeah, to be able to do that stuff and actually has some skill. Even as a master of Bruce Lee, he's not about to kick his heart out of his chest because first of all, he's too big. Like Hulk Hogan could probably get hit by a bus and walk away with a broken leg.
I don't know about that. It depends on how fast the bus is going, but yeah. I mean,
that's a big dude.
Certain speed kills everybody, but I mean, like,
that's a big dude. I see him in real life. He's huge. That's a big dude. Like,
yeah, I just don't know that a bus is. I mean, you know, he's not super,
and he's not slow. He's not no big slow dude. I mean, he looks slow, but
He
seeing
actually you'd be surprised, especially as he got older, because the steroids do that to you. Like young Hulk Hogan, I'll give you. Older Hulk Hogan that was like in the prime of his career, I don't know. Because
it looks slow on TV, but if you see that fist coming at you in real time, that shit gonna hit you quick as hell, and it's gonna knock your head off like bow.
I don't know enough about Hulk Hogan.
He grab you, he gonna throw the hell out of you. He just pick you up and throw you on the ground. You ain't even gonna be able to get like a way where you can catch yourself. Like, this is realistic. Size matters. That's why I think, Mayweather could beat him probably with gloves on. He gonna have to run and duck and dodge a little bit. But if Floyd running there like Nate Robinson, like did Jake Paul, and just thinking, like to brutalize him like that, you was messing with pretty much the best fighter there ever was. Has the record. I mean, straight up. I mean, Mayweather, he ain't just go out there. Everybody talk about his last fight, but man, Mayweather has some really great fights. He won some battles. He had fights where he was losing, getting his ass kicked, that came back and whooped ass. Like, he can fight. The man can fight.
I think that's why the McGregor fight made so much sense, because McGregor had a similar thing where, because he's got that insane knockout power and just a left, See
how McGregor just got his ass rocked.
Well, I'm only bringing up McGregor because they both have that left. You know what I mean? Like that just knockout punch from the left that if it lands, you're done. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if it lands flush or not. You're done. You know what I mean? Like,
we never did talk about that either. With McGregor getting his ass whooped.
Yeah, it's happened. Oh yeah, we didn't talk about. Well, I don't think it had happened yet. I think it was.
Yeah, it happened. It happened.
Maybe it had.
Knocked out. You ain't seen all the memes they got of McGregor.
I didn't know it happened.
They got McGregor laying on top of Nate Robinson.
It was not good.
Yeah, he got knocked out. He got knocked out bad. Dude whooped his ass.
McGregor should just do super fights at this point. He can book them. You know what I mean? Like, maybe he should win.
Like to see Floyd Mayweather against 50 Cent. That would be totally worth it.
I mean, it's like we're watching, we're paying to watch boxers execute civilians at this point. It's great.
Like Mike Tyson against Roy Jones was really great. Like, Roy Jones was like, "Would you do this again?" He's like, "No."
Smart man.
He's like, "What hurts?" He said,
Everything.
Mike Tyson came in there. Look, Mike was still jumping like, "Yeah, that was a great fight. I had fun. Yeah." I was like, "Damn, Mike on the juice." Roy out there like this. Roy out there like this, trying not to throw up. He like, he's like, "Yeah, I could talk, but Mike like, yeah, you was a great fighter. You hit me. You hurt me a little bit. You hit me right here." I was like, "Wow."
Tyson's always been honest when he's
Roy was like, shit.
Because they used to ask Tyson questions aggressively to be like, "Hey, what would you do? Do you think this person's a bad fighter?" And he'd be like, "No, I respect everybody I get into the ring with, because I'm going in there to try and kill them."
Hey, Mike could have killed him if he wanted to. Mike didn't go to his head. He just body shotted him the whole fight. Oh, yeah. Like, he really bodied him like bow. He didn't go to his head like wham. If you'd have hit him in his head, Roy'd be brain damaged right now. He wouldn't be able to commentate shit no more. He was like, because he do commentation for boxing matches. It'd be over for him. He'd be on there like, yeah.
I mean, it was a great fight. It was honestly really fun to see Tyson back in the ring, just because you haven't seen it for so long and you wonder that the guy can still do it. Of course, we know he can still fight, because he's always going to have that. But
yeah, he ain't gonna beat no caliber boxer like Anthony Joshua or no Tyson Fury.
But if you put him against some of the other older guys that have been in boxing, that want to still fight, that think they still have something to prove, or just want to fight Tyson for the hell of it, like, let's do it. I'm down. It's just like, why can we do that? But why is it okay for us to do, Logan Paul versus Nate Robinson, but not okay for us to do Mike Tyson versus Roy Jones? You know what I mean? Like, so it's like, I want to see a few more if Tyson's capable of doing it without dying. But because obviously I don't want the guy
without killing.
No, I mean, I think it's possible that he works himself to death too, because he steroids himself so hard that he just literally keels over. But I mean, like,
I don't think Mike Tyson on steroids. You think so?
I think to get back into shape to win like that, probably. But I mean, I don't know, because they sped up the timetable. You remember how it worked, right? Because they pushed it back a bunch, but then they sped up the timetable all of a sudden once Jones had accepted and had time to get ready for the fight, which then left Tyson in an awkward position where he was technically preparing for the fight, but not really, Because to be fair, and I'll expand on that, the whole point was they wanted to get Roy Jones to accept the fight so that Tyson would have a massive advantage, because Roy Jones wouldn't have had time to prepare. So Ray Jones held out on it, prepared a little bit, and then did it. So it was kind of just a back and forth thing. But I mean,
Roy
like,
Jones didn't look in shape when he went in there, though. He was like,
that's because he only had 3 weeks. I mean, he still got 3 weeks of preparation in, but it wasn't enough.
Tyson was ripped up. I was like, damn, he looked like.
But the speculation was the reason why Jones was holding out so long, so he could have more time to prepare for the fight, so he could do it at all. But the camp on Tyson's side wanted to make sure that he was as unprepared as possible, which, I mean, that's fair. I mean, you don't want. Imagine how awkward it would have been if Tyson did this and got completely knocked out. Like.
Yeah.
So I but like now I want to see an actual like 6-month build to a fight, or well, 3-month build, whatever you want to say, like a couple months build to a fight. That way it's not just like, oh, all of a sudden here we go, like, no, I want to see like an actual fight build. Let's do this, and give us somebody that's relatively younger too, because we just saw him fight somebody that you'd say is probably closer to where he was. You know what I mean? Like, so
right, Anthony Joshua. But
I'm not saying young. I'm saying younger that's been retired. So I don't know who that would be, but
Boston is born right now. I mean, Tyson Fury's not really fighting. Deontay Wilder's not fighting. Anthony Joshua's not fighting. None of the main heavyweights. I mean, there's nothing on the lightweight or middleweight class besides Gervonta Davis, who's doing a little something, knocking people out. But he still haven't got big of a buzz because, he's not a real talkative person, which makes him boring. Nobody wants to pay to see a boring fighter.
No. Okay, so
you want to pay to see somebody that you want to see lose.
That's true. To be honest, that's why Conor McGregor is so popular.
Well, like when Mike Tyson was in there, you didn't go to see Mike Tyson, not somebody out.
McGregor.
You didn't go to see Mike Tyson, not somebody out.
Mean left hook to knock you out.
Lose.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, here's the reason why the Mayweather-McGregor fight happened on paper. But regardless of any of the smack talk that happened around it, mean left, best trash talkers of all time. Like, not even a question. Like, so. There's a reason why they started calling him money. You know what I mean? Like,
he wasn't talking shit after that fight. They had to get the medic. They had to get him some help.
All right, so let's just briefly hit the rest of the sports news. So, you want Tony to talk about NASCAR? We had some NBA stuff that I'm happy to throw in as well. But really quickly, I just wanted to talk about the blockbuster trade that took place in the NFL this past week. We had Jared Goff getting traded to the Detroit Lions and Matthew Stafford going to the
Rams,
to the LA Rams, and I believe there was an exchange of a couple of first-round picks as well. I'll get the exact numbers. Let me just see Jared Goff trade.
Well, I think the Rams got the first-round draft picks, didn't they?
I forget how it worked out. I'm saying, like, I know there were picks exchanged because obviously it was for Goff. It wasn't for Stafford for picks.
How did they trade? Why did they trade their quarterbacks? They both just equally pretty much.
So the way I understand it, and it's
why would the Rams trade Goff?
I don't know if you guys know this because Matthew Stafford's kind of been silently doing this in the background for years. You probably do know this, Tony. He's been putting up about 4,000 to 5,000 passing yards a year in the background over there.
Yeah, well, I don't understand why
literally every year.
Goff. Yep. There must be somebody that they're really speculating on because they just went to the playoffs. They didn't really lose that bad,
but they lost.
Yeah. The LA team just wasn't clearly happy with what was going on with Goff. I'm trying to find the amount of picks and stuff that were exchanged. I'm sorry. But like the irony of the situation is like Matthew Stafford he's a veteran quarterback and the rest of the team seems to be functioning just fine. It just needs to age into itself a little bit more. But what the Jared Goff can offer to Detroit is now if Detroit wants to do what they've done over the last couple of years, they just drafted a really high wide receiver last year. They're going to have a better draft pick this year. Well, not better, but a pretty good draft pick this year so they can draft some people in. Jared Goff's going to walk into a pretty decent situation there. Not great, especially with the way the front office clearly has done stuff with Stafford over the years because they've had Stafford since like 2009. So what's the deal, That might be an incorrect number. But either way, like, you've had him for years.
It was 2011 maybe.
Yeah, actually, you're right. It was 2011. That makes more sense.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, so it's just like I remember the year Matthew Stafford came in. I was really excited because he seemed like a really cool guy. I thought he was going to skyrocket and the Lions were going to be good, and that never happened.
I had a dream that Deshaun Watson went to the Atlanta Falcons and we won the Super Bowl.
Speaking of, okay, so we'll just jump straight into that. So we'll get back to the other news in a second, but we actually do have this, so I'll actually ignore this. So I want to say it was like a first-round pick.
Mr. Watson, I would like to tell them to transfer you to Atlanta and give them Matt Ryan, and they'll be happy.
You guys are going to
be happy. The Texans will be good. Matt Ryan is perfect for Texans. Like, he looked like a Texan. And Deshaun Watson looks like
all right, guys.
Falcons quarterback. I'm sick of man.
You guys ready to hear this? You guys ready to hear this? So this is the rumored asking price for Deshaun Watson right now for any team that wants to be interested in getting him out of Houston. They want 2 first-round picks, 2 second-round picks, and 2 young defensive starting position players.
Hell no.
I was about to say no.
Someone will take it.
Maybe the Jets.
They will. You know,
Maybe the Bengals might say
that all of those things are less valuable to than a quarterback right now. There's several. And yes, 2 defensive starters sounds ridiculous, but
the Eagles will pay it.
Well, yeah, the Eagles just got the thing where they got their quarterback.
You know who I think would be kind of hilarious if they did, especially after they just did a similar thing for good old Mitchell, would be Chicago.
Yeah, true.
I don't think they will, though. I think they're already too much in the hole. They just got out of all their pick not having hell, so I think that might be
I need to go to the Falcons, man. I'm sick of this, man.
So this leaves my team in a little awkward of a position with the whole Stafford thing because now he's been signed by a team, so I don't have a team. Like my quarterback is probably going to be a Matt Ryan now, so I'm not excited by that prospect because Matt Ryan is great, but I just don't know that he steps into a really good team and makes it better, to be honest with you. You know, it's a similar thing with Phillip Rivers, right? Like Rivers was good and he got us to the playoffs, but will Matt Ryan be a one-year flip again? I don't know.
I'll give Matt a little bit of credit. God dang it, son of a.
He couldn't win the Super Bowl though.
It wasn't his fault.
It was partially his fault.
He need to score one more time.
It was partially his fault.
I mean, I'm being honest. You know what I mean? Like, it sounds funny, but it's just true. You know what I mean?
You said it. You're like, yeah, it was partly his fault.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, well,
the comedic. Yeah.
Why you choke like a little bitch? I'm mad about it. I'm still mad about it.
Matt Ryan comes out of the locker room to do the interview. Yeah, we had the Matt Ryan in the.
They got
Matt Ryan in the post-game interview.
And then the defense just
Tom Brady in the post-game interview after the Super Bowl. Yeah, they had us in the first half, not gonna lie.
How do we got the number 1 wide receiver and we ain't going to the playoffs, man? Damn this. Give us another Michael Vick. Somebody exciting. At least
because you don't have the number 1 receiver.
Julio Jones is the shit.
He's not number 1 though. He's like number 5 now.
Because Matt can't throw. Sorry. That's my family. I can talk about my family. Other people can't talk about my family.
Like, hey man, if he comes to my team, I'm going to talk all. Do you remember how much smack I talked about Old Man Rivers this last year? Look, dude, it's not going to be good. By the way, respect to Phillip Rivers for retiring. I don't know that I talked about this on the show, but he'll be retiring from the NFL. So congratulations to him and his 19 kids. They'll go back to LA and live out their lives or whatever. But
so we talked about Super Bowl last week too, so we don't really got to.
We don't have to touch on that. That'll be this Sunday. Hopefully, I can get the day off for work.
Yeah, right.
But let's talk about.
Look, did you add hours?
No.
Over the 10. Remember the 10 that were required, and then they said you didn't have to.
Aren't you working from home?
Yes, but I can't really watch football games while working effectively.
Y'all be busy like that?
Yes.
We do too.
At least I'm busy right now.
Well, you better work some extra hours. Just accidentally stay clocked in.
I don't know. I work nights, so it's a little different.
You're probably going to do a flash sale during it to get people to work, which I will not. But
I didn't add any hours for it. So
Tony's a boss. You see, Tony's a boss. I'm not coming. You see,
is that the exchange they made? Like, if you worked the 10 hours that you didn't have to work the Super Bowl or something?
No, they added like a super Roth if you added the 10 hours.
Oh no, yeah, no. I mean, I have PTO. I put in for it. I just didn't get it approved. I don't think.
Yeah, but did you see we're closed President's Day?
Really? Oh, okay.
Yep.
They're trying to give us back some days off, I think, because of how much they made us have to work last year without like a bunch of time off in a row. Also, they've been kind of restructuring based on like I think they realized that we don't honor. Like I was looking at a lot of other companies honor a lot more national holidays than we do. As like, and it's not that they're required to; they just do out of courtesy. You know,
we always got paid.
Yes,
we didn't have the day off. So if you
you'd get double pay, which was almost nicer sometimes.
Basically, it was time and a half.
Yep.
Basically, well, people, we don't know what they're talking about, but we just.
And then
okay. So what we mean is, at our work, we have this system where everything related to attendance is tied together. Mm-hmm. So anything you do is going to affect everything.
Super Bowl should be a holiday for everybody except for Papa
So
John.
anytime they give us time off,
Casanos, Godfather's Pizza, then the only places that shouldn't be allowed off. And if you order a pizza on Super Bowl Sunday, you better order it earlier because it's gonna be old dough.
Because not everyone's ever worked. You work for a place that's open 24 hours, right? Is Spectrum open 24? Oh, they're not. Oh,
6, I want to say.
What?
They close at 6, I want to say.
Oh, really? I didn't know that. Okay.
You guys close at 6, or y'all open later? Phil?
Well, that's till 10.
Oh, okay, so they do close. Okay, so I guess we're weird because we're international. We do 24-hour business, and we only do that because we're in chat. Like if we weren't in chat, we would also close at like 2. So you know,
man, I'm working from home. They can't see me. I'm clocking out. It's and that's the way it is.
It's funny because I've made this comment to a supervisor before. I'm like, the way things are online, nobody should have any issues right now because you should just be able to fake your statistics.
You get in trouble.
You should be able to fake your statistics well enough. If you can't, I'm sorry.
That's all I would do. I just clock out.
Sometimes though, in certain situations with us, I don't know about you, Tony. I'll be like, I could totally hit the clock out button, but I'm also they know I was dealing with this customer, so there's no point. You know what I mean? Like they'll know I was lying. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, because they don't want us. Because the thing is, and this is something I do like our work for. They make sure we get paid for extra time we work. So, but it's like
payday comes and you're paid. Like, I mean, that's the thing. I mean, yeah.
So let's talk about NASCAR. I haven't heard you talk about NASCAR like at all this year. I don't think so far, Tony. So let's get into it.
Yeah. So starts back up. Daytona 500 is next Sunday. So we get the Super Bowl Sunday. Then we got NASCAR Sunday. Daytona starts back up the NASCAR thing. Super stoked. Michael Jordan got involved. There's Bubba Wallace.
Really?
Michael Jordan on drive?
The only black guy that's in NASCAR as a driver. He signed with them. So it's Michael Jordan and Denny Hamlin, who's another driver for a different team.
That's interesting.
They're the main owners, but Bubba Wallace is going to be the driver for them. So
the black dude's name is Bubba.
Yeah, which he was.
Damn it!
Showed me anything? Like,
damn it! Why his name had to be Bubba though?
I know, right? He's like Richard Petty.
Right. I'm not saying nothing wrong with Bubba. Just stereotypically, you would. That's what you would thought. Like if you say Bubba Wallace, I mean, Bubba does sound like a big white dude though, like that, like the fish a lot. But I mean, Bubba, like because of Forrest Gump, Bubba's always gonna be pictured as the shrimp boat captain. So there, that just really, damn, his name is Bubba. They should have called him something else, like I don't know, like Buford or something, or gave him a nickname or something. Yeah. Badass, not Bubba.
True.
Like, guess it. Who's driving the first black driver? Only black driver is Bubba.
Yep.
Damn it.
But anyway, so Chase Elliott won the championship last year. Woo! Giving a shout out to Chase Elliott.
Yeah, Chase Elliott.
You are muted, so we cannot hear you.
Oh, how does that work? I'm curious. I've never actually known. So how does the championship calculate? I know it's races over the course of the season, right? Like
right. So over the season, I want to say it's in October, maybe no, but no, because the last race is in November. So usually, like the last, I want to say like 12 races is when they start accumulating points.
And then people get into the. Is there playoffs?
So a race is in stages. So like there's 500 laps. So stage number 1 is like 200 laps. Stage 2 is another 200 laps. Stage 3 is 100 laps. So like you get points for being a stage winner. You get points for winning the race. And just over the time, like over that, I want to say it's 12 weeks, they like acquire points. So you can, like Chase Elliott didn't have the most wins for the season, but he accumulated the most points. So like by the last race of the season, which is in November, there was like 4 drivers that all 4 of them, any of them that won, because it got down to the final 4, any of them that won would have been the championship or been the champion. And so Chase Elliott won. Like he won all the road courses. So I don't know if you've ever watched as far as like the different courses they do.
Mhm.
So they have like the ovals, and they have road courses, and they have
And the Georgia
I
Speedway.
actually played a
I used
decent
to.
amount
I've
of
actually been to some NASCAR.
NASCAR Heat 20.
I must honestly say, I feel really bad for this, but when I watch race cars, I'm really there for the wrecks.
No, we all are. It's like hockey.
Yeah, you think I'm watching hockey and I'm not there for the massive hits and the fights occasionally? Like I'm not there for that, but that's one of the reasons why I like initially got into the sport.
It happened. I mean, we just had the Rolex 24 last weekend, which is 24-hour race.
I don't want nobody to get hurt. I just like that's like
24 hours.
would be exciting. Like, oh wow, he just hit the wall like smack.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah, so I do have a little idea of the courses because I did play a little bit. Is it NASCAR Heat 21, the most recent one? I'm not sure. The most recent NASCAR Heat game.
20.
Race car games are fun.
And I played the crap out of that for like a week with my friends, and man, that game was fun. Dude, the passing mechanics in that game are awesome and satisfying as heck. And then once you figure out how to do it, by the way, we should do a gaming stream, me and you at some point playing NASCAR Heat because that would be fun. But because you have an Xbox, right? Like, yeah, we're definitely doing that at some point since you're doing gaming streams now. I'll definitely hop in and play some NASCAR Heat with you because that's fun. We'll have to do it with like minimal damage on because I'm really bad. But like, and we'll set it so that it's like a more fun experience. But it'll be fun because
the I don't know if you like the NASCAR, the Rolex 24. That was really cool. Where literally it was 24 hours of racing. They started at 4:00 on Saturday. It ended at 4:00 on Sunday, and you have a team of 4. So you have one car, and there's like 4 drivers. So that 24 hours, those 4 drivers like have to drive for like a minimum of 2 hours at least.
It's just like a relay race.
Yes, and I mean, you think about it, like we're like.
So are cars like pulling over every couple of hours to like switch drivers?
Yeah, I mean they would pull in for like a pit stop.
Right, yeah, and then you switch drivers in the pit.
Driver would jump in, and then there's tires filling.
I'd have Suge
They
Knight
had
in my
to practice the crap out of that.
I'd have Suge Knight in my pit so you can just.
Dude, that would be such a cool thing to do. Dude, that's probably one of the coolest things they get to do in the build up to the season because you get to practice this little side thing, and on top of that, you're practicing your driving skills too. But you're not going too fast, I'm sure, so you can maintain some level. That's cool because they probably have to practice the getting out of the car and stuff like leading up to it as a team.
Yeah, I mean they started practicing like Wednesday.
Oh,
and
yeah.
The cool thing about it was like Formula One. It was NASCAR.
It wasn't just NASCAR. Oh, that's so cool.
Like 4 different divisions. So you have like open wheel cars out there. So you have, I think,
interesting.
I want to say it was like 60 cars.
That's so rad, dude.
It's hard to watch NASCAR on TV.
For NASCAR, it's 40. For this, I want to say it was like 60. And so you had different divisions. So you had like the open wheel Formula One. Then you had like the closed wheel Formula Ones. And so like if Phil, like say the 3 of us are racing and we're all in different cars, like all 3 of us could be a winner of that division. But I mean, just like watching it and watching the mechanics of it, because I mean, these guys are racing. I mean, and you got to be in top form. Like we think about it, we're like, yeah, I can drive for 10 hours, no big deal. But I mean, really, like you got to have the endurance.
What does the average person do after a 10-hour car trip? Sleep.
Yes.
Well, I mean, I've drove to Atlanta plenty of times. That's like an 8-hour drive.
But did you go and sleep afterward? I mean, like,
yeah.
Or did you go and you might be different. You might be perfect for riding NASCAR in that case. I mean,
like the way the cars are, they're not like leaning back like we are.
No, they're not relaxing. They're like, like
it has to be hard. Like, I mean, it like it's very.
I mean, once you get your rhythm, I guess after the first hour, you kind of like.
Yeah, it's just motions at that point. I mean, but there is a skill to it because they're going 200 miles an hour.
That's the big thing. Yes, like 200 miles per hour.
Like that slight little you were doing. That's a lot of movement. Like they're doing like, like they're barely
one
moving that
wrong
wheel.
jerk and you out like.
That's what happens, man. You get tapped once and you yoink the wheel, and you know what I'm saying?
Like if you look back, like I was watching, we were watching a stream a couple weeks ago, Sarah, my girlfriend and I, and like there was a race from back in like the 60s where like he barely, like I'm saying, like my finger tapped his car, and like it just spun out, ran into the wall. And of course, back then they didn't have like the barriers they have now. So, I mean, the car flew up over the barrier, like crashed through it, over the fence. Like there's some bad ones. I mean, luckily nowadays they have a lot more safety protocols and they're still working on more.
Yeah.
So that
you still get the occasional tire that flies out of the arena, you know, but I actually think NASCAR would be easier for me to watch now, Phil, because I played that game. So maybe that'd be a good thing to do. I mean, NASCAR Heat, maybe not the most recent one.
Understanding it. Because again, like even like when we were watching the 24-hour thing, like there was one spot where they came in to get gas and tires. So they're putting gas in the car. The guy doesn't realize the gas is still hooked to his car. He starts to drive off. The hose pops off and sprays like the whole pit area that he was in and like almost hit one of his guys. Like his guy hadn't gotten out of the spot yet. So
That's
like
the Final Destination shit.
Guy's like, whoa!
It is some final. There's literally a scene in Final Destination. Yeah, literally, like that's like it's all it would. But it doesn't even take that. All it would take would be the okay. So here's a mother. All it takes is the metal from that nozzle hitting the ground and sparking, dude. You know what I mean? Like that's. But by the way, just a side note, most gasoline, like I don't know what gasoline goes in race cars, but I mean most gasoline isn't instantly flammable like that. Like you would have to really actively set it on fire.
A lot of them switched over to like the ethanol.
Probably to avoid fires, I'm guessing.
Yeah. But
because that was a big problem for a long time. Is you'd be fine. You're just stuck in the car. Now they said to get you out. It's gonna be a 20-minute process, but now you're on fire. So now it's an even worse. So like
the worst thing I'd be worried about driving.
Isn't that how Dale Sr. died?
Yeah,
or something burned in his car. Yeah,
they said he had a heart attack right before before the crash.
But even if he hadn't, even if he was still able to be saved, he would have died when he was stuck in the car. But yeah.
But I mean, that's probably the worst one because I mean that race. I mean, yeah, and then like I don't know if you have, like Dale Jr., Dale Earnhardt Jr. has his own podcast as well. So if you're ever wanting to listen, like
be a good way for me to get into it, probably.
Yes, and he like talks about like especially that race because he was racing in that race.
Dale Jr. was
in the race. Yes, he was.
I did not know he was in the race where his dad died.
I didn't know that either.
And then, of
That's
course,
crazy. He finished the race?
They finished the race, and because he didn't know the crash happened. But I remember him talking about like he got done. He got to like he didn't win the race, but he got done and pulled back into the pit. They like drug him out of the car and like rushed him to the hospital. So, I mean, yeah, it's like he talks about it on the show.
I'll have to listen to that episode.
Yes, but and he has a lot of guys on there because I mean. Again, like listening to how they get their start in it, like a lot of them, like there's one guy, Chase. He's one. Like this dude lived, I want to say like Michigan and wanted to get into NASCAR. Had no.
Elliott.
He had no like prospects or nothing. He just went down to North Carolina because that's where like the hub is. Where most North Carolina has most of the teams in it, I just went down there hoping to get a job and ended up getting a job. And I mean, now he's driving for Tony Stewart's team or Stewart Haas. But
I thought you was gonna say Uber for a second.
I'm for Uber. He's the most efficient Uber driver of all time.
Right.
He'd literally driving people around. Can you imagine how much crap you would get for driving people around in like a sports car, like an actual sports car? Like you'd be crazy. You'd be the most popular Uber driver ever, though. Yeah. What's your estimated time on getting there? We're 30 minutes away. 5 minutes.
Right.
All right. So we've sidetracked a little bit. So let's talk about the NBA a little bit. Is there anything that you wanted to particularly bring up, Phil, from the NBA or anything like that, or?
Well, in the NBA right now, it's pretty up in the air. It's still got the big three up in with the Brooklyn Nets right now with Durant, Kyrie Irving, and James Harden.
Can we talk about LeBron?
Let's talk about LeBron.
Can we talk about how the girl got kicked out of the game?
Oh, well, LeBron kicked the girl out of the game.
LeBron, no. What was it? Was she talking too much smack or something?
She said
she wanted to do him, didn't she?
she said he looked at her husband and called him like a steroid bleep or something. And so she got up and said, "Don't talk to my husband." So then he called her an F and B or whatever, said, "Sit back down." And that's what she responded. So
basically some stuff went down between her husband and Jordan. Or Jordan, sorry, and LeBron.
The article I read, like this guy was a big like Atlanta fan, so they were playing in Atlanta.
Oh, gotcha.
So of course they're fans and they're courtside,
right.
But he's like a huge Hawks fan. Been a Hawks
LeBron
fan.
is giving the guy crap. And so LeBron probably doesn't care about this guy because he's just a Hawks fan. You know, like he's like, no, you're just against me, so I'm against you. And then like the wife, okay, yeah, she kind of deserves to get kicked out of that game.
Right. Like
she threw nothing at him. You should be able to talk as much trash as you want.
Okay, I mean freedom of speech, but like you're not like you're in like a public setting. I don't know. It's kind of funny that LeBron has the power to do that. You know,
yeah, that's more power than Michael Jordan.
The refs did. Like LeBron didn't kick her out.
Okay,
LeBron was but
he was the catalyst, but they had to make the decision.
Took her mask off, like because she took her mask off for an extended time.
Yeah, if you're doing that,
screaming, that's why they kicked her out. And LeBron basically stated, like, I had no problem with what was going on. Like, it was a game. He actually defended it. It was like, I miss having those interactions with the fans.
Everybody talk trash at the game.
That's that pushes us. And he said, but I feel like the refs did the right thing because it could have escalated to a little more later on or whatever. So
that messes up the fun though. You gotta be.
Imagine if you're that husband and you're just, I'm sure, a rich guy because you're close enough to be talking smack to LeBron, right? And so and then your wife gets you into a fist fight with LeBron because
LeBron was like,
if I would have been in that Super Bowl, I would have made the Falcons win. I'd have been talking so much trash to Brady, like, you better not come back, you big country mother. Like, you're gonna miss every pass. Watch, you're gonna throw an interception. You're gonna throw an interception because you a sorry sack of shit.
When Tom Brady went to Michigan, I knew there was a reason I didn't like him.
And when they went to the Super Bowl against Atlanta, I'd have been talking trash. Like, I would have been talking trash to Brady. Like, man, you suck.
So how are the Hawks doing this year, though? Are they doing any good?
You deflating football punk.
Are the Hawks doing any good this year?
I don't know. I don't like them.
Oh, okay.
I'm not a Hawks fan. I'm a Falcons fan. Though if the Hawks do good, I might jump on a bandwagon because basketball, I'm kind of a bandwagon rider.
The Hawks are ranked 6th right now.
Right now, I'm all in on the on the Orlando Magic. I really like the roster they have. I think they could build it out. Obviously, we just lost some people, but
I'm definitely
we still got Vooch. Vooch is the man, I mean, we have a really good shooter. Who the hell is the really good shooter we have?
I don't know what's going on with Zion Williamson. Like he had his best game the other night.
Yeah,
he went out there balling. They just ain't giving him no no public appearances. Like they're not really giving him a lot of TV time right now. They got to get to the playoffs before they become important.
Oh, okay. So we have like Aaron Gordon, obviously.
Well, actually, they showed a Pelicans.
Vucevic throws a really mean three for a European guy. I mean, not that you can't be. I've been saying like, for the lower end of all the guys that are,
Ooh, I was just thinking, like, what if my daughter goes to LSU and Zion Williamson becomes a boyfriend? I'm like 3 years apart.
That could happen.
I'd kick his ass.
I mean, you'd be in the news.
I'll be there to help you.
Again?
I'll be there to help you just in case. I got your back.
I cannot make any promises.
I got my back.
I don't know that I want to fight Zion, but
I'm not fighting him by myself. That's for sure.
I had to just kick him in the knee. He always injured. His knee's always bad.
I'll film it. How about that?
There you go. Yep.
Zion kicks 2 people's ass.
It's still considered ignorant betting. Okay, so let's go ahead. So I forget we were talking about sports, but we kind of were just going all over the place. Let's just hit a couple of stories because we're getting close to where we should be ending. I think we're about an hour and 15 minutes in or so. But let's just talk about this. Jeff Bezos is stepping down, so this is kind of a non-story, really, because he's still going to be involved.
Yeah,
I mean, he'll be making less money probably. He'll be taxed less.
Papa John stepped down from being the CEO of Papa John's.
I know.
Well, right? No, Papa was actually out because he dropped an N-bomb. But I mean, but beyond that, he's going to still be like, I think he's going to be like the chairman of the board or something. Like he's going to be making good money still, and he'll still be the decision maker involved in everything. Cause it's just like with Elon, right? Elon might not be the chair of every single one of his company's boards, but everybody knows Elon is the person in charge of all of those companies. You know?
He's rich. He wants to enjoy his money.
Yep.
I respect that. He's going to have way more free time, I'm sure, you know? Because what does a board meet like once every couple of weeks or something? Maybe even like so he'll be free time to maybe invent some stuff for the world like Elon's doing. You know,
if I'm a billionaire, I'm gonna be the most.
Not everyone can be Elon and be like a billionaire and also like a super really good person trying to help the society at the same time. You can do both, but you can't do them at the same time sometimes. Elon is just like
I'm traveling around the world. I'm retiring at the next year with however old I am. I'm saying I'm gonna just retire. I can't. I was about to say I'll retire by the time I'm my age now, but that dream's long gone.
Yep.
I think everybody has a dream of that, but reality hits everybody at some point. No one ever keeps, unfortunately, the same long-term job they initially get. It seems like you work about 5 to 10 years in one place, and then you find where you're actually going to end up, which is unfortunate. But you know. Or if you're unlucky, even more than that often. So, you know,
like for 18 years.
Yeah.
I can't believe I did that shit. Wasted 18 years of my life. Just blowed it.
But you know what? That 18 years means something to a lot of other places, though. So, you know, like.
I want to work for them. I want to work for myself. I want, you know, our radio show to get more popular. Everybody get on here so we can tell the world, and I can just really get deep and personal into it. This is what I like to do.
All right, so we're going to talk about this, and then we'll move on to our last topic, and we'll end the show on that. So Screech is dead. Like, yo.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
kind of sad. I had to remember who Screech was on Saved by the Bell because I just caught reruns of it back in the day. So this didn't hit me as hard.
Saved by the Bell came out. But Screech was.
I was born, but I wasn't like an adult.
Screech was the man. R.I.P. Dustin Diamond. You know. It's sad to see, you know, Dustin Diamond dies. Lisa from Saved.
Okay, actually, I was not even close to more when it started.
Lark Voorhees then got some plastic surgery done to her. Wasn't the best job. She doesn't even look like Lisa anymore. She looks like her name is Heathcliff. I'm sorry.
Oof. Okay. Yeah, but it's an unfortunate passing. You know, he was pretty young, honestly. Does it been released what the cause of death was or anything like that? Or
Sure.
Cancer. I hadn't heard. I hadn't looked into this as much because this was one of the, I've been focusing on politics lately, to be honest. So, actually, speaking of which, I missed a story. Oh my goodness. How did I manage this? Okay. Well, I'm just going to touch on it briefly because it is not super necessary to talk about. If I can find where I put it. Okay. I'm just going to speak it out because I can't find my story for it. But Myanmar, the country of Myanmar, just had a military coup recently.
Really?
Yeah, their military took back over their government for the first time in decades.
Where's that?
Oh gosh, let me pull it up. Let's see.
Shit. That's where I get lost. Like Myanmar.
It's in Asia. I believe it's Southeast Asia. It's like north of Thailand and Vietnam.
Yep, Southeast Asia.
Yeah.
Laos, Bangladesh, China, and India.
Yeah, so it's right there in that range of sort of like that mishmash of countries in Southeast Asian peninsula. That's near where India is. I think like sort of like east of India, maybe. I'm not sure. I could be wrong about that. It could be west. Yeah, it used to be called Burma. I would have said that, but I don't know that everyone gets that reference either.
Yeah.
Congratulations to them.
I guess the government is now military, so I mean that's fascinating. Well, hopefully we'll see where that goes. But to lighten the mood a little bit and to end the show on something really nice and fun and something that we can spend, I don't know how long we'll end up talking about this for because we are pretty like deep into the show. But I do want to do a WandaVision review. And guess what? I actually lied this time. I have it wrong because guess what we get to do this time, folks? This time we get to talk spoilers. Let's go. All right. So first of all, I want to go ahead and go to Tony first just to get your thoughts on the overall what you've seen. So what you've seen. And then we'll go and we'll talk the spoiler moments we want to talk about. And it probably shouldn't take us too long, but just really quickly, Tony, your thoughts on the show because we've already given ours.
It took me a few episodes to get sucked in. I want to say like by the second one, I was kind of like, okay, but now like I'm totally sucked in. Like,
okay,
this is totally getting good.
What was the moment? But you can spoil it, so feel free to tell us. What was the moment when you were like, okay, I'm really into this? Was it like the end of episode 2 when you get that scene with the radio and everything starts to go to color, or?
Yeah. And then for me, one of the biggest points was when they showed the 5-year back, like when people started appearing again.
Oh yeah, in this last episode,
when the daughter sit there or whatever, and she's like, "Where's my mom?" But then when she went to the thing, I was like, I had to point out to my girlfriend that's Captain Marvel's.
Yeah, the 3rd episode got me. Like when you found out that was Captain Marvel's best friend's daughter.
Yeah.
Like that was the little girl off of Captain Marvel. Like that's all starting to come together. Like, oh yeah, I spoiled it. Yeah. I was like, yeah. So I was like, the black girl, I didn't even notice that. I was like, oh, was that too much of a spoiler?
No. We're talking full spoiler.
Okay. Well, yeah. So
spoiler ban is lifted on this show.
It took me a minute to catch it. Like, okay, so Miss Rambo was Captain Marvel's Diana. I want to say Diana.
Well, it was
her best friend.
Yes.
Yeah.
When she came back, and then her daughter was like the one that recognized her, and now her daughter's in here going through the WandaVision thing. I think the 3rd episode got me the most because that's when it started to get a little bit.
Well, and they're like the articles I've read now that I've seen it, so I can talk. Like I can read the articles, but like now they're saying there's like a big Marvel hero that's going to be showing up or something.
Yeah, so I wanted to talk about the Luke Skywalker level cameo we're getting.
Yeah. I'm going to say it's Captain Marvel because of Rambo being involved.
I hadn't even thought about that. So the 2 speculations are because, and this is a little spoilery, but because this show is going to tie into the Multiverse of Madness and Spider-Man 3, there's thoughts that it could either be one of the 2 Spider-Men that was cast in the new movie, that it's not the actual Tom Holland Spider-Man, which would tie into the multiverse. Like if Andrew Garfield showed up at the end and was like, yo, I'd be like, what? But or a Tobey Maguire even. But
I think it's gonna be Iron Man because he created Vision.
That's the other speculation is Iron Man.
Yeah.
The thing that I think, and this has been my speculation from the beginning, it's going to be Doctor Strange.
It could be Doctor Strange, but remember, what's his name? What's the dude that played Iron Man?
Robert Downey Jr.
Yeah, Robert Downey Jr. said he wasn't playing any more Marvel movies.
Didn't say anything about TV.
No. He's come back now and said he's open to it.
He's open to it, but they'd have to do it correctly, is what he's saying. He can't just be brought back. And I think what he means by that he doesn't want to just be brought back as a multiverse character.
I would think I wonder how Vision's name became Vision when his name was Jarvis at first.
So Vision was what was so the Vision is the term that they use in the films to describe Ultron's belief of what he was supposed to become for humanity, which is what Vision ultimately is, by the way. Right. And I don't think people realize that Vision succeeded. I don't think Ultron actually wanted to take over that body. I think Ultron knew he was flawed.
Yes.
And he wanted to create something better. And he thought maybe because he was already smart enough to be as evil as he was, that maybe if that Vision would have balanced him out, maybe it would have been like a dual AI kind of thing where he would have just dominated Jarvis. Well, Jarvis wouldn't have been involved. So I guess it would have just been like he thought maybe that Vision body could balance him out or something. I don't know. But either way, ultimately Ultron got what he wanted because Vision is what he wanted himself to be, But Vision's not indestructible. Which he should be because he's made out of vibranium, but whatever. But we're not going to get into that, but whatever. But jokes aside, Vision. But so the Vision is what Ultron wanted for humanity, which was a better life, basically. You're free of all villains, heroes, everything. Only Ultron, all humanity, all robots. So that's what the Vision was meant to be. But Vision is just the generic name for the character as well. Because I don't know why he's called the Vision in the comics. It's probably a different reason for that, but but he is associated with Ultron as well, I believe. So I don't know. I'd have to look into this more. The hard thing for me with comic book questions is I know 1% of the answer, and the 99% that you would need to really understand a character, I just don't have because I don't own the comics.
Well, Vision and Wanda were my favorite characters anyway, so I'm just watching it like
they're okay. I mean, they're two really powerful characters, which is really interesting.
I like the characters that really. Like Iron Man doesn't have superpowers. He just has a suit. Hawkeye.
Yeah.
Hawkeye's one of my favorites because he doesn't even like all he is. He's good with a bow and arrow.
He's pretty much the Marvel Batman.
Yes, I mean,
no, I mean Iron Man's the Marvel Batman. I mean,
yeah. Hawkeye. I mean, again, I love Hawkeye because
Hawkeye's like Green Arrow.
Yeah, and even Black Widow. Like Black Widow doesn't have superpowers. She's just fucking good.
She's dead now.
Rip.
No, she's not. She's coming back.
Well, I mean, they're about to make a movie with her. I don't know how it's gonna do.
But they
it's already filmed, I think.
Yeah, it is. They just have like it was supposed to release last year, but now
it got delayed.
Well, because now they're like because HBO announced like all their movies are coming, so now people are like Disney, just go ahead and release Black Widow. Because I mean, literally, I would pay $20 to watch that at home.
Yeah, or Eternals.
Like they did with Mulan.
Mulan. I paid $30 like I did for. I didn't pay for Mulan, but I would have paid $30 for Mulan if I had been interested in it. Like
I mean, and that's what I would say. Yeah, if I was interested in it, I would have. But
and Eternals, I have interest in. So
there's 1 or 2 movies like Fast and Furious 9 that's supposed to come out in May. Hopefully, it does. But
you know, it's ways you can. Well, you know.
$20.
I would like a combined model between streaming and film or movies. Theaters, I should say.
I think HBO Plus or HBO Max has the perfect thing.
Yeah.
They'll release the new movie for 30 days on HBO Max and in the theaters.
Yep. So you still get your theatrical release window, but you're not. But granted, and now theaters will probably be like, well, what about all the people that are going to watch it from there? Okay, so there'll probably have to be some kind of, and I didn't understand this at first, but the theaters were like, no, we want a cut of that movie that you're releasing on there because we would normally have gotten that cut. And I'm like, yeah, they would have.
Yeah,
they're robbing them of money they would have made. So it's like,
I want to say Universal, because remember when Universal released Trolls last year?
Yes. On
streaming only, that was the big issue. Well, then Universal came out and said, okay, we're going to put all our movies out streaming first. And that's when, like, I think it was the AMC, like, basically was like, we're going to boycott your movies. We're never going to carry your movies again, this, that, or the other. And so they worked out a deal where Universal said, we'll release for same day on demand at home and put it in the theater. And then I think the way it worked out, like, they get a percentage of the on-demand sales as well.
Yeah, just to get back to WandaVision a little bit, I wanted to, because it's popped in my head because I was looking at the thing and I was like, oh, I was remembering my favorite moments. I think my favorite moment in the show so far, because I saw the WandaVision name and I'm like, oh yeah, so many great moments in this show because I keep thinking about it. I think my favorite moment so far is the moment when you kind of realize Wanda's actually the villain of the show, as well as the protagonist.
I don't think she's a villain. Like,
maybe she's being manipulated. I don't know. There's been a lot of Hydra imagery, but I don't think it has anything to do with it.
I want to see what the kids are going to be like.
I don't think she's being manipulated. I think this is her trying to protect her and Vision. I mean, not necessarily herself, but Vision.
But look, I think they're going to find out that in the Infinity War, in the end game, she was actually pregnant.
Can we just point out that they showed an image of a dead Vision that was like grayed out? Does that mean she banged a dead Vision?
But I think it's going to be something to do with the kids because I think
Vision
probably conceived children. They didn't ever tell that at the end game. She probably conceived the child. The twins. And that's where I think it's stemming from. I think it's going to lead back to the kids because the kids are the most insignificant but significant thing that, you know, out of the universe, everybody else is like in the real world, like all the characters except for the kids. Those are the only things that didn't come from the real world, but that's been the life that's created into her.
Oh, that's true. She literally just created life.
Multiverse. Think about it. The black girls from the real world, all the other people in there, you know what I'm saying?
Everyone else is from the real world. Yeah,
everybody's from the real world. The only thing that isn't is the kids, but are they? Oh, you know
what if they are? Oh my God.
They gotta be.
You're right.
Because everybody's a part of that. So that means it's got to be some kids. The only one that's there that's not supposed to be there is Vision. And remember, she had a picture of him being a dead gray, you know.
That's what I'm saying. That's why I was saying, because they implied that they banged.
They bang.
Why?
Because he's dead.
Well, okay, yeah.
Oh, they banged before, like when she killed him, she was pregnant.
He's dead and still grayed out like he's got his headpiece, a piece of his head missing. You don't find that a little bit disturbing?
No, I think she was pregnant after Endgame. Like I think she was already pregnant. Too. I think they just didn't mention it.
Yeah, but I mean, why not just have her start that way then? Whatever, you know. just seems a bit odd to me. But I don't know. I think it's all going to be tied back in together in some way, just like how everything so far in the show has. There's still 5 episodes left, so they still have a lot of ground to cover.
I love how Marvel is able to because if you watch all the movies, in a certain everything overlaps, and I love how they continue that story. So
it's not just like in DC where you're like, oh, remember that time we all did this?
Yeah.
No, I don't actually. Wait, what? I mean, when the word no can disable your whole script, it's kind of like
DC all over the place.
They I don't know that I could say, and this is my friend argues with me on this all the time. I watch Aquaman, I'm like, oh yeah, this is just like a separate universe, right? Because there's no way this takes place in the same universe because this character is completely different than any version of Aquaman we've gotten so far, and also he doesn't really seem to remember the events of some of the other things except for when one character brings it up. So it's like, remember that time you guys fought in New York? Yeah, I remember. It was great. And back to the movie now. It's like, okay, anyway, yeah, it feels that way in DC sometimes. Yeah, I mean, I'm excited to see where the show goes. There hasn't been anything massive just yet that I think has been too mind-boggling besides the realization that Wanda really is doing everything, because there was speculation, is this her being manipulated? I guess there's still that possibility. I don't think that's what this is. But right at the same time, I don't know what to believe anymore with Marvel, because they've already, shattered my expectations with this show once, and I expect they will again. Is there anything else you guys wanted to add really quickly?
No, I think we're good.
Bill? Okay, cool. And that's the end of our WandaVision review. And thank you guys so much for tuning into this episode 9 of the Tempo Podcast. Did you keep up with us the whole time? Make sure you like the video and subscribe and click the little bell so you know whenever we go live. And we will see you all next time.